I don't think I've ever seen a writer work so hard to convince their audience to sympathize with a villain. And he doesn't even do a good job of it because this comic is all over the place. Half the time, Simon Spurrier paints Mystique as the ultimate boss bitch and her male lovers as nothing more than tools, and the other half, she's this poor woman who just wanted love and to be herself, but nobody would let her. Basically, she's a manipulator who was manipulated by her lover, and we are supposed to feel bad for her while she acts like a complete bitch towards her son who is trying to comfort her after regaining old memories. Give me a break. X-Men Blue Origins introduces a pointless and convoluted retcon into the story of Kurt Wagner, while simultaneously giving LGBT folks the false hope that two people of the same gender can reproduce together. What an exciting time to be a Marvel fan. Now, some people are defending this by stating that it's retconning a much hated retcon, in which they were referring to Chuck Austin's Uncanny X-Men number 428, in which the character Azazel was introduced as a demonic-looking mutant who fathered Nightcrawler with Mystique while she was living as a baroness in Germany. People mostly hated that retcon because of religious reasons, as it subverted the idea that Kurt was a child of divinity and instead explained that angels and demons were nothing more than a subset of ancient mutants. But you know what? Azazel looks like Nightcrawler, and he has the same powers as Nightcrawler. Technically more powers, but they both teleport using access to the Brimstone dimension. So Chuck Austin, whatever his motivations, made Nightcrawler's parentage make sense, while X-Men Blue Origins does the complete opposite of that. It basically states that Nightcrawler is the son of Mystique, a woman, and Destiny, also a woman. How would that work, a logical person might ask, and is a question that Kurt asks himself. After listening to Mystique's long-winded and aggressively narrated sob story, we learn that Mystique shapeshifted into Azazel and impregnated Destiny. So Destiny was the actual mother of Nightcrawler. But how did he get Azazel's powers? Well, Mystique had, and I quote, Azazel's DNA on her palate. Now, if your mind immediately went into the gutter, you are not far off. However, this explanation doesn't make sense. We know Mystique can change her physical form, but not the ability to replicate powers unless it is strictly related to her physical form. Meaning, she can replicate Wolverine's claws, but they won't be made of adamantium, and they probably won't even be as dense as his bone claws. She can make herself look like the Hulk, however, she can't increase her own mass, so while she'll look like an 8-foot tall green behemoth, she'll be an 8-foot tall green behemoth that weighs maybe a buck 40, I'm guessing. So the idea that simply having traces of someone else's DNA within her gives her the ability to pass that DNA as well as the X gene onto a child, but can't mimic those abilities herself is just plain retarded. The writer knows this, so he included a file written by one of the many mutant geniuses, Dr. Nemesis, who goes on to say the following. He says, "It is quite incorrect to classify Mystique's mutant abilities in the category of shapeshifter. She has proven again and again that merely reforming her flesh, an extra muscle here, a tint of pink there, is the extreme minimum of her capabilities. That she can so perfectly adopt the facial likeness, vocal signature, fingerprints, and retinal patterns of those she encounters speaks not just to mimicry, but to astonishing levels of genetic mapping and manipulation. She's not simply adjusting musculature and skin, but rewriting the genomic instructions in every single cellular nucleus of her body, all at once and all without conscious thought. I'm aware that's not a terribly dramatic revelation when written down, so for the appropriate impact required by any non-genius, non-scientific mind reading this, permit me to add that there isn't a single supercomputer extant in the known galaxy capable of performing this feat with the same accuracy and speed. The calculations and chemical interactions involved are, in a word, ludicrous. To put it differently, Mystique is not a shapeshifter, she's a gene shaper. Her flesh is the most sophisticated biological apparatus I've ever encountered. The only thing that prevents me banding around the overused terminology of the Omega power set is that she has thus far appeared incapable of mimicking the X gene of other mutants, nor of manipulating her own. Well, you know who can shapeshift and replicate nearly any mutant ability? Apocalypse. I wonder if Dr. Nemesis has a similarly glowing review of Apocalypse's genetic structure and abilities. Making Mystique's powers sound complicated and impressive amounts to nothing when we know of an established character whose powers are demonstrably more impressive. I think if Spurrier had taken just a minute to stop jerking off to pictures of Mystique and done a little research, he would have known that and realized that this doctor's note is irrelevant. So what's the point of this retcon? Is this Marvel just making another female character lame and gay? Well, technically, Mystique isn't gay. She's had several male lovers and been in love with some of them. These include a serious relationship with Wolverine, Christian Wagner, who she was originally in love with and married to, an affair with Azazel, not one but two relationships with Sabretooth, each one under a different identity, and one of them producing Graydon Creed, the one-time leader of the Friends of Humanity. She had a serious relationship with Forge, a serious relationship with Iceman. She was at one point married to Senator Ralph Brickman under the identity of Mallory Brickman. She had a casual relationship with Phantom X, as well as a casual relationship with Wolverine's son, Daken. Oh, she also had a son with Charles Xavier while posing as Moira McTaggart, and had a son with Wolverine in a narrowly avoided alternate future. So if you are on the side of saying, hey, this retcon sucks because they made Mystique gay, or on the side of, hey, this retcon is awesome because they confirmed Mystique is gay, you're both wrong. Many are attempting to back up this retcon by pointing out that it was Chris Claremont's original origin for Nightcrawler, but that Marvel Editorial nixed the idea at the time. While I wholeheartedly believe that comic book storytelling was superior in Claremont's era, hell, storytelling was better just 15 years ago, that doesn't make people like Claremont infallible. Creators like him have stupid ideas every once in a while, just like everyone else. The difference is that today, Marvel Editorial has incredibly ineffective oversight in regards to their writers, leading to blaringly obvious mistakes and progressively irrelevant retcons like this one. It's also very possible that they just didn't care. And if they don't care about their own continuity, then we shouldn't care about retcons like this. If you are a true Marvel fan, it's a given that you will have to decide which parts of the Marvel continuity make sense to you and which parts you ignore. Because Marvel has demonstrated for years that they don't care about their continuity. They ignore their own stories, they change history to suit their whims, and the further we get from the creation of these characters, the less important any new information becomes. Instead of working within the framework of the continuity, we see more and more writers who want to create quote-unquote new revelations. They want to write something that we've never seen before. More often than not, that simply involves a rewriting of history. So we, as individual readers, must decide, are we going to regard the past continuity with importance, or are we going to latch on to the retcon of the week, not knowing if it'll be changed again in a couple of years when someone writing their first Marvel comic wants to tell their quote-unquote definitive origin for Nightcrawler. I'm not here to tell you what to like. I'm just criticizing a long-standing but ever more pervasive trend in Marvel. One I wish they would replace with original storytelling, if not the least bit of reverence for what's come before. Now, if you also read this comic and know your Marvel history, then you'll probably notice that I didn't address all the retcons. And that's because I felt like I didn't need to in order to make my point. But if you guys want me to go through the entire issue and comb through all the retcons and continuity errors, I can do that. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell so that you never miss out on a new video. Thanks for watching.